So what you do with the box is also really important. You don't have to list it all, and you should have multiple options to sell it. When you're new to Helpsy, you might want to like kind of stalk them a little bit and kind of have it be more top of mind than normal. I don't stalk them as much anymore, but I used to. I wanted to get a feel for like, is it better to just buy it randomly when I want to? Is it better to wait for a sale? Is it going to be there when there's a sale? I find that branded boxes, which means that it's like an Ann Taylor box, it's a Bowden box, it's a Zara box, it's a Splendid box, whatever. Those, you know the brand. So it could be anything in there, any item type, whatever, but you know the brand. And so if you've done well with the brand, or you have a way to sell that brand, you have experience with that brand, you're going to do better than if you get a big mishmash of who knows what. Download your free reseller resource guide today. I constantly update and share with you discounts, favorites, tools, and resources to help you with your reselling business. After the video, click the link in the description and get your totally free guide today. Okay, you have asked, and I am about to deliver the How to Pick a Good Box on the Helpsy Source website. Oh my God. So I've done many videos about buying in bulk. I have talked about pallets. I have talked about boxes. I've talked about how I sort things, where I sell things, how to make the most profit. And then people always ask me, how do I pick a good box? How do I pick a good pallet? How are you picking these things, Rebecca? I don't know what to do. How do you pick a good one? So today I'm going to give you some tips up front, and then we're going to dive into my screen share, and we're going to go to the Helpsy website, and we're going to identify some, what I think, based on my business, are some good picks. It's going to be different for you. We have different businesses. So I'm going to share with you my thoughts, but these are only my opinions. But it's kind of more about the process. That way you could kind of do this for yourself. And so we may not end up with the same list of the best picks, but we should hopefully have a good system, a good framework for making those decisions so that we don't end up with problems when we buy in bulk. So buying in bulk is amazing. Amazing. I love it. I buy several pallets a year. I buy several boxes a year. I've been doing this for many years. And I've been doing it with Helpsy Source, and Helpsy Source is pretty much, the main source of inventory for me. I have a few other online sources. I have a few local sources, but none of them are my main inventory. My main inventory comes from Helpsy, and I'm, super happy to be an affiliate of theirs for years now. And when people ask me, oh, but you get more or you get better because you're an affiliate. And I don't think that's the case. I never have thought that's the case. And I'll tell you why. My Rebecca the Reseller account is over here. And then my buying account is a completely separate email address, completely separate everything, because that's my reselling business. And so my content business and my reselling business are basically two different things. So I don't think that they even know when I order Rebecca Person that it's me, Rebecca the Reseller, because there's millions of Rebeccas out there. So nothing when I order says Rebecca the Reseller. So let's just get that out there right up front. And I don't really get sponsored boxes or anything anymore. They're big enough now where they don't need to do that. So I just order off the website like everybody else. And I do make some custom orders. But again, I think my custom rep, I don't even know that she knows that I do videos. I don't think we've ever talked about it. So anyway, we're going to get into the tips, but I did want to hit that up front because that is often a comment that I get of, oh, Rebecca, you get all the good stuff because you're an affiliate and you make videos and blah, blah. And I'm pretty sure that random, Sharon in the warehouse that's packing my order with Joel, they don't care who I am and they just pack my order. I'm pretty sure they don't care. Picking a good box is important because not everything, even though I love Helpsy Source, not everything on their website is a good buy for everyone. I think there's a box for everyone. I think there's a way to do bulk for everyone. I think everyone can benefit from it, but I don't think that box A is going to be good for me and for you. It might be only good for one of us because all of our businesses are so unique. My average cost of goods, my average selling price, the way I do my sales, the places that I sell, the platforms that I'm on, how much I list. There's so many variables as to why one box is going to be good for somebody versus another. So I think it's more about how to pick than, if you pick something different than me. So also having a plan for what's in the box is just as important as the box that you get. So let's say you pick the perfect box for you, which again, we're going to go into a screen share and actually do it on the Helpsy website, but I want to get some things out of the way first. Let's say you actually pick the best box for your business. What you do with that box is also up to you and also very important. So if you take that box of 40 items and choose to sell all 40 items, you might not do as good as me with the exact same box, where I only choose to sell 20 items on Poshmark, and the rest I send thread up, or I sell at a buy-sell trade store, or blah, 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 all the things that I do with them, which I have separate videos on. We're not going to deal with that today. So what you do with the box is also really important. You don't have to list it all, and you should have multiple options to sell it. So that's number one. Next on my notes is love Helpsy. So I already said that. I love Helpsy. I do want to also point out, which I think I said, I do boxes. I do pallets. I have ordered just random Joe Schmo on their website, boxes and pallets. I have also placed custom orders for boxes and pallets. So I've done all the things. I've bought all the which ways, I've done all the things, and all my comments here are generally for the average buyer. I do buy a lot from the website. I love buying when they have a sale. So sometimes they just have things that are like on sale, and then sometimes they run like site-wide sale, blah, blah, % off, whatever. Or use this code, da, 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 and they send an email. Or they have different deals in their stories or whatever. So there's lots of ways, and so when you're new to Helpsy, you might want to like kind of stalk them a little bit and kind of have it be more top of mind than normal. I don't stalk them as much anymore, but I used to. I wanted to get a feel for like, is it better to just buy it randomly when I want to? Is it better to wait for a sale? Is it going to be there when there's a sale? Should I buy custom? They have like stories where they would say, DM us for bulk on this. And so I've done that. So I think in the beginning, if you're just considering ordering from them, you should just like sign up for the app, sign up for the text messages, sign up for the emails, watch their stories, like just kind of ingrain yourself into it till you get a feel for what's the best way to shop for you. And I'm not saying you need to shop when they're trying to sell. I'm just saying be aware so that you can find the best time to buy for you and your business, because you'll get to know what they always have, what they only have sometimes, things like that. I think that's really helpful to kind of like just get a feel. I usually go on the site a couple times a week to see what they have. Sometimes I put things in my cart and then I sit on it. Sometimes I wait to see if they have a sale. So again, just kind of like being a stalker. Sometimes I jump on stuff, sometimes I wait. I go usually with branded boxes. I like to be in control as much as I can about what I'm getting. I find that branded boxes, which means that it's like an Ann Taylor box, it's a Bowden box, it's a Zara box, it's a Splendid box, whatever. Those, you know the brand. So it could be anything in there, any item type, whatever, but you know the brand. And so if you've done well with the brand, or you have a way to sell that brand, you have experience with that brand, you're going to do better than if you get a big mishmash of who knows what. That's not to say that you won't get good stuff in who knows what, or couldn't make a bunch of money on who knows what. I just feel like I have more control when I get a branded box versus who knows what. I have experimented with those. Sometimes it's gone well, sometimes it hasn't. It's not to say I won't ever experiment with them again, but I do generally speaking like branded boxes more, and pallets. You have to know what you're looking for. So you could go on their website, see all the things, and then get totally sucked into buying the most amount of nonsense you've ever bought in your life. I don't want to see that happen. And that's not because Helpsy's bad. Helpsy's great and I love them, but they get lots of stuff and then they have to sell that stuff. That's their business. So just like I tell people, you're not going to get all the good stuff in your box because they have good and bad stuff to sell. That's just the name of the game. They're dealing with thousands and thousands and thousands of items. So they're going to, just based on numbers and based on volume, have good boxes. They're going to have bad boxes. They're going to have like fluke amazing boxes, and they're going to have fluke crap box. Like it just happens. So don't get all crazy about that stuff. We have to roll with it. We have to make it work. What I'm here to do is help you pick good. And then the other videos that I have are about making the best of your box and making the most profit. And so all these tools will help you make more profit out of your box. So I think you need to know what you're looking for. I think you need to know where you're going to sell it, because that plays a big factor. If I'm buying a box to send items to ThredUp or to sell at a buy-sell trade store, that's certain kinds of items. If I'm buying this box to sell the items on Poshmark, that could be different kinds of items. So knowing where you're going to sell it. Maybe you're a Depop seller versus whatever, something else. At eBay, whatever. Know what your buy cost is and your max based on listing price. So if I buy a Zara box, I know generally what I list certain kinds of items for, so I know generally how much I could pay for an item. If their price is under that, I can buy it. If their price is over that, I can't buy it, and I shouldn't buy it just because it's there. You need to do your own math. They are not shoving these boxes down your throat. They do not have a gun to your head trying to make you buy the box. So you are in control of what you buy. You need to make good decisions. We all have a part in this, just saying. And know the trade-offs. So I'm going on a website in 3 clicks, in 5 minutes, I can get a box sent to my door with 40 items in it. It would have taken me driving to the thrift store, going through around the thrift store, sorting through, editing down, checking out, checking comps, checking quality, to walk away with 40 items. How long did that take? How much did that cost? Compared to Helpsy, where I bought it in 5 minutes and it showed up at my door. There's trade-offs. In this box, I'm going to get some things that I don't really want. It's just part of it. Over here, I had to spend all the time, but I get to pick exactly. Over here, I didn't spend any time, but I got some things I didn't want. There's trade-offs. It's part of the deal, okay? And the last thing is figure on your worst case scenarios. So a lot of times I'll do an exercise where, what if I only could sell half the items in this box? Which sometimes is the case because I'm doing other things, not because they don't sell. So if I only sell half the things in this box, that means that the item cost is double what I paid. So let's say it's a box and it's $5 each per item, and I can only sell half of those things. Now my cost is $10 per item because I can only sell half the box, so I doubled my cost. Would this box still work if I could only sell half the things in it at double the price? If it can, this is still a winner of a box. If it can't, again, this is the worst case scenario, so likely it will be better. Am I okay with taking that risk? Am I okay with taking that risk? And if I am, then we do it. And if I'm not okay with that risk, then I don't do it. And then the other thing is, you should have this money saved up. So in your business, when you buy in bulk, you sell stuff, you get money, you take it out, you go to the thrift store, you buy more stuff, you sell it, you get money. And so depending on how you manage all your finances, you might end up where you put out $200 for the box or whatever you buy, and then you don't have any other money to go thrifting. But you might not get that box for like 2 or 3 weeks because sometimes things ship quick and sometimes things don't ship quick. So you just got to deal with it. So now you don't have $200. Those items are coming to you, but you don't have any right now to list. Do you have any other money to go and buy items so that you can keep listing? It's a cash flow problem. This happened to me years ago when I bought my first pallet and first bulk purchase from the Macy's distribution. I got my reseller license. I signed up with their liquidation department. I bought the things, and then I spent all this money, like $2,000, and then I didn't have any other money to do any other things because I had a cash flow issue because I didn't save up enough money ahead of time to make this bulk purchase, even though I wasn't going to get the profits immediately. It takes time for things to sell. It takes time for me to list all those items. So I ended up in a big cash flow issue, and that taught me that lesson. I never made that mistake again. So you need to make sure that whatever you're planning on spending in bulk, you should have that cash kind of over here on the side so that you can still do your other regular business operations. You don't run into a cash flow issue. So that's important. So those were all my tidbits and tips and things and stuff to keep in mind. I know that was a lot, but I really feel like if I'm doing the right thing by helping you be a better picker on places like Helpsy, these are important things for you to think about. And I get a lot of comments from people that have had good experiences, bad experiences. They question my experiences. And it's listen, I don't care whether you buy or you don't buy. I don't care if you make money or you don't. but I'm here trying to help you. And so I do want you to make money and I want you to have a good experience. And so these are the things that I'm thinking to tell you about so that you have a good experience. And if you choose not to deal with that and you choose to ignore that, and then you have a bad buying experience, that's on you. It's not on Helpsy. I mean, there might be things that are Helpsy's fault, but we as the buyer of these bulk things have a big role to play in doing our due diligence and making good business decisions and also having the right expectations. And that's not on me and that's not on Helpsy. That's on you as the buyer. So I do those things. I have the right expectations and I make good buying decisions. So I have a good outcome 99% of the time, 97.2%. So anyway, let's get into the website and see what we can find. Okay, so I was already on the website. I was pulling some things, so we're going to go into that for sure. But if you just go on their website, like to the general front, they want you to get the app, blah, 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 all these things. I think you should be everywhere with them so that you can get to know everything and be first alerted of stuff. Like, I think it's super important. So let's go over to secondhand. Let's go here to see women's most wanted brand secondhand. That could be an interesting option. It's $6 buy cost with free shipping most likely. Maybe it's a good buy, maybe it's not a good buy. I already told you before, I'm not a big fan of the mixed up lots, so I'm not gonna look at this. Actually, you know what? Let's look at it so we can talk about it, but this is not usually something I buy. So women's most wanted brand secondhand clothing source, 240 for 40 of them. Secondhand packs have a mystery assortment of styles, types, sizes, and colors. These are all things you should keep in mind. So then they do have a brands list. I'm not going to click on it, but you can click on it and you can see. They have a whole system. And when they do a sort, it's like this box gets these kinds of brands. And then this kind of box gets these kinds of brands. Doesn't mean that every single one of those brands is going to be in your box, but these are the possibilities that it could be. So when you look at the, all right, fine, let's click on it. When you look at the brands list, if you're not okay with most of it, then you probably shouldn't buy that box. So like for me, I'm not really okay with Cynthia Rowley. I'm not really okay with Cider. Cabby could be okay. It might not be okay. I like Bowden. Halogen's okay. Kendall and Kylie's okay. Brooks Brothers, not so bad. Rachel's, though, not so bad. But like, if those are the brands that are most likely going to be in there, for me, I don't know if I'm super excited about that. Now, likely, I see a lot of things I like. I see J. McLaughlin. I see Spanx. I see Eliza J. These are things I like. I see Eliza J again. Ellie Tahari. So some of those are good. But then there's a lot on here where I'm like, like, been there, done that. Don't really feel like dealing with them. Then there's the less likely, which is usually all the better stuff. And so it's like, it might be in there, but it's less likely. So what are the odds that it's going to be in there? I cannot factor my whole life on that it's going to be in here. Like if you order this box thinking you're going to get a box full of Jill Stewart, you've got another thing coming. You're making a silly decision because this is saying right here, it's less likely to be in this box. Plus, look at all these other brands that's less likely to be in the box and all these other brands that are more likely to be in the box. So what are the odds that you're going to get a box full of Jill Stewart? Not likely. So it's good that they give you all this information, but you have to use it to, with your brains, and you have to decide what makes sense for you. Also, don't even look at the pictures because the pictures are going to probably be what they think are the best stuff or whatever. And so it doesn't mean you're going to get the best stuff. Just because they showed UGG here doesn't mean you're getting any UGG in the box. So it's a possibility, chances are, but you can't go off of that. So then it says, these are the kinds of brands you can find. Condition is gently used. So that means that you might get a new tags item in there. I've bought secondhand boxes that have had a new tags item, but you're not promised new tags items. It's women's, so that's good. The price is $6 shipped, so you know exactly what's going on. It's going to come in a box because it's only 40. It's not a pallet or anything. And then they give you some other information that you should read, especially about like condition and like what kinds of things can happen. And so, so they tell you about the 15% flaw rate. So 40 items, what's 15% of that? 4 to 6. 6 items could be flawed. Doesn't mean that 6 items will be flawed, but you have to figure that 6 items are going to be flawed. If you get a lot more than 6 items being flawed, that's something you need to discuss with them. And it says a secondhand clothing can include any of the following flaws which we do not refund or replace for. So then they're saying any damage that is harsher than these conditions, we consider severe damage. If severe damage encompasses more than 15%, then we can deal with you. So they're telling you now, because they've dealt with this, they're telling you exactly what the expectation is. Your box could have these kinds of flaws, part of it. Then anything more than that could be up to 15%. So you could potentially get a box with not one perfect item in there. That is possible. And you would say, well, why would you ever buy the box? Because that hasn't generally been my experience. I don't think I've ever gotten a box where every single item was unsellable. That's never happened to me, not once in many years of dealing with Helpsy and before that. So they're putting this here to cover their butts, and rightfully so, because I think many people have bad expectations and think that the box is going to be perfect. But do I think it's going to be this bad? No, I don't. That's not been my experience. So this is not a box that I would buy for my situation. You might look at this box and be like, oh my God, I love selling those brands. That would be perfect. I'm happy to pay $6 to get those brands shipped to my door. I can never find those brands. This would be perfect. This might be the box for you, but it's not the box for me. So let's see what else they have. Don't forget to stop by the Rebecca the Reseller Academy, where you can find all of the products and all of the educational tools I have available for you, including all the free goodies. Here you can find coaching calls, Poshmark closet reviews, digital downloads, including my free reseller resource guide, as well as all of my courses and all of the bundles to save you lots of money. Hope you'll stop by soon at the Rebecca the Reseller Academy. Pretty Little Things, Windsor. So these are branded boxes, so you know exactly what you're getting. Adidas, that's a Pallet. Topshop is also a Pallet. Splendid Pallet. So there's lots of things here. Banana Republic, so you know you're getting all Banana Republic. If that's your jam, you know all about Banana Republic, that might work for you. Only $900 for 400 items. That's $2.25 per item. So if you could only sell half, so that's 200, so it would be $4.50 an item if you only sold half, you know, for your cost. So if you only sold half the box and only sold them for $4.50, you would break even. So if you sold them for $10 and only sold half, you would double your money. So, I mean, these are the kinds of things where you could potentially grow your business significantly by getting 400 Banana Republic items dropped on your doorstep, and all you have to do is sell half of them at $10 each to double your money. Are those odds in your favor? Maybe, maybe not. I don't want to sell 200 Banana Republic items, but it's not a bad deal. Like, it's possible that you could do okay with that. Like, that could be something where I say I'll pick the best of the best to sell myself on Poshmark, and the rest of them I'll sell to ThreadUp and to a buy-sell trade store, or have a local sale where people can just buy stuff for like, you know, $3 to $5. And I would probably do great with that. So everybody gets to make different choices. Like, that could be an option for me. I'm not going to buy that right now, but that's actually not too bad of a thing. So some of the ones that I pulled out, just because I could be on this website all day talking to you about like every possibility that's out there. And if you want me to do more of these, I'll be happy to do more of them and literally go through every box that they have. So comment down below more box picking videos and I will do those. But this one I pulled out because this one I'm actually thinking about. So it's Eloquy, which I have stated in other videos that I enjoy selling. Particularly though, I like selling their dresses. So with a branded box, you could get anything. So the likelihood that I'm going to get dresses is slim. There's probably going to be a lot of tops, pants, who knows what in here. Maybe 1 or 2 dresses, maybe 10 dresses, maybe all dresses. I have no idea what they have and how it's going to get sorted. So it's a crapshoot, right? It's a mystery box. So, okay, and it says this pack has expected light flaws. Majority of items will be pinned with a note detailing flaw and location. So maybe I don't want it because I don't really deal with flaws. If you're like the fixer-upper kind, this might be more attractive. Maybe that's why I haven't bought this one in the past, because I don't necessarily want guaranteed flaws. That's not necessarily my favorite thing. But it could be if you are into that kind of thing. For me, that is like my worst nightmare. So, but $9 an item for a dress is an okay buy cost for me. So if this happened to be Eloquii dresses, let's just say, like that would be a no-brainer. But because it's flawed and because it's not all dresses, I'm not going to be purchasing this right now. But if this were to go on sale, that could be a contender, even with the flaws, because I might just see what I can do with it. So that's the thing about stalking their website, seeing when things go on sale. You never know. The other thing is Zara. So I wanted to compare because this is a Zara box, 40 items for $280. That puts you at a $7 buy cost. In my book, that's a little high for Zara because I don't know what kind of pieces I'm going to get. And so if I spent $7 for a Zara dress, I'd be okay with it. It's not my ideal, but I'd be okay with it. But it's not going to be all dresses. It's not going to be all jeans. It's going to be all different kinds of things. And so some of the stuff I may not want to list. And so, then I have a pickle. Also, if we use my double your money flaw, double your rate, and it's $14 an item because I only, let's say, want to sell 20 items out of this, that would be higher than my maximum for Zara. So let's say I only sold half of the items from here, and that did put my cost at 14. And let's say all the only ones I picked were dresses, jeans, and like blazers. I would only ever pay 10. So 14 is too high. So this for me is out. For you, it might not be out, but for me, this is out. Also, because they have this. They have a pallet. That's what I like to do. So this pallet comes with freight shipping, which is a whole other thing. And I have a whole other thing about pallet videos, or I have a whole other video about pallets. So you could find out all the things to do and not do with freight shipping and all of that. I give you all the tips. But this one's on sale. And so it's $2,000 for 400 items in a pallet. So that's $5 per pallet shipped. Now it might come, it does say LTL freight shipping. So because sometimes they'll do a pallet's worth, but they'll ship it in boxes. But this one doesn't look, because it says all pallets with the freight shipping. So you have to be able to get the freight shipping. So if you're in an apartment, you can't get this. Probably, I would assume. And so, maybe you do that. I don't know. I've just assumed that you can't do that. So you might have to buy the boxes. And so your cost might have to be $7 if you want to sell Zara. But because I can accept a pallet, and I'm familiar with pallets, I can get it for $5 an item, and I'm buying in bulk. But I'm also putting out $2,000. So again, check out my pallet videos to know about like the money situation and all of that. But $5 for a Zara item, I'm okay with. Also, if I cut it in half and I only sold 200 of the items and I doubled the price, now I'm at $10. It's within my little framework where I could buy this. And I have bought this. I've bought this many times. So this is, one of the things that I do and a possibility. One of the things I just bought last week was this Splendid wholesale. It's up for $120, 40 items in the box. So it's $3 an item. And I was like, I'm going to try that because I have had some luck in the past with Splendid. I kind of made a bet like I might find some new with tags items because sometimes it's like liquidated. But I got 2 out of the 3 boxes I bought, and there weren't really that many. There was only like 2 new with tags items, but I did, out of the 1 box, pull a cashmere sweater out. So I'm going to list that here shortly, and I was really happy with that. Everything else I'm probably going to send a thread up right now. I'm not a big Splendid on Poshmark seller, but I'm going to send it to thread up and see what happens. And I might take it to a buy, sell, trade store as well. So I felt like for $3, this could be a good play. We'll see. But the other thing I wanted to point out was with this one, if you buy the pallet, it's $2.50 per item. which is, better. And so you save 50 cents per item by buying the pallet, but you're like, you're locked into $1,000 spend, but that's a big difference than the Zara pallet because it's half as much. But the Zara, you're saving $2 per item by buying a pallet and not the box. So these are the kinds of things you need to be looking at when you decide what's best for you. Putting out a big amount of money up front or buying in smaller quantities, but you're paying higher per item. Sometimes you save more to buy in bulk. Sometimes you don't save as much. Like I didn't feel like I was getting that much savings by buying it in a pallet. And did I want that many Splendid items? Not so much. So I just bought 3 boxes of this Splendid and I'm good with that. So those are like just some little things that can make a big difference on your bottom line. The next thing I wanted to do the math on and see what they thought. So this is a not branded box. It's a mixed up box, which I told you is not always my favorite, but sometimes, not too bad. So this one's $3 an item too, just like the Splendid. And then this is the pallet, 1088 divided by is $2.72. Did they write that here? I should have known. Yeah, $2.72 shipped. So this is a pallet, you're paying $2.72, only a few cents cheaper than the box. So if you wanted to try this mix out, now again, every box is different and every pallet is different. So just because you try the box today, then you decide tomorrow to go get the pallet, doesn't mean you're going to have the same experience. It's always different, but you can get a general gist. And so if you loved, your box, then you might be interested in going to buy the pallet next time. So this has brands, let's see, most likely, and then likely, and then less likely. And there's a lot more. Oh my God, there's so many brands. So I would go with, because there's so many brands, that you're probably going to be living in the most likely area. You might get a random one of the other ones, but with so many brands being in the most likely, which is different than the other one that we looked at, you're going to be mostly in here. And this looks a lot like your Nordstrom, Bloomingdale's, like liquidation type stuff. Halogen, Rachel Zoe, Joie, Sanctuary, like all of these are like the house brands, Leith, 525 America, Spanx. This all seems very Nordstrom, Bloomingdale's-y, and that's fine. Some people do great with that. But again, it doesn't mean it's the most current. It doesn't mean it's new with tags. So you're up against, James Purse from 20 years ago or whatever, or versus James Purse from now. Like maybe yes, maybe no. Girlfriend Collect, like some of these are great things to sell. And then some of them I'm less excited about. And so again, I just don't love having everything so much up in the air because some I like and some I don't like. But if all of these sound amazing to you because all you ever find is Old Navy, then this might be the right thing for you. And you might be willing to just jump right into a pallet. It's possible. I mean, $2.72 an item, that's great. Even if you only were going to sell half, $2.72, $4, $5, like under $6. So these are the kinds of things that you need to consider. I know this ended up being a lot longer than I had planned, but this is like, I feel like I gave a lot of really good information that if you watch this whole thing and you really are on the fence about how to buy with Helpsy or if you should buy with Helpsy, I really hope that this helps you make some good decisions because buying in bulk is a glorious thing. It's really all I do. I do it all the time. It is how I get almost all of my inventory. Everything that is on my rack here, except for like 5 items on the end that I got at the buy sell trade store, all of this plus the 2 IKEA bags down here are all from pallets I've bought. And I bought them from Helpsy. There's Zara and J. Crew, and I bought the Splendid boxes. I also wasn't doing a lot over the summer, so I'm kind of getting back going. But yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of really good information. Watch this video again if you feel like you need to. Let me know what questions you have down below. And if you want me to go through more of their boxes and kind of give you my opinions on what we think we should do, let me know. More Helpsy picking videos in the comments below. And let me know what your experience is. But of course, if you are going to order from Helpsy, use that discount code of mine, Rebecca the Reseller, so you can save 10%. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!